We are live. Welcome to another episode on One Real Talk weekly session with the not I but we Dream Team, New Order National Human Rights Organization. Here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we got some New Order warriors in the building. You understand what I'm saying? I always know that Gerald does not disappoint with New Order members coming onto this platform. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present the others, some New Order warriors. These sisters is bold and they ain't taking no mess today. Okay, so we got Miss Vanessa Battle in the building, and we got Cheniera Osbourne in the building. Okay, welcome to the show. Welcome to the platform. How y'all feeling today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm out here working on my tan. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's good.
Well, I don't know if we
How
want
that? How
to
that?
get in the blacker.
What's that?
I said, I don't know if we want you to get in the blacker.
I think they said the blacker the berry, the blacker the power, or something like that. I don't know what they said. So if that's true, that's what I'm trying to do.
It's supposed to be the juice of the berry.
Oh, okay. I don't know about the juicy part. You know, I could talk about the black power part of it. I'm good with that. So let's start off with an introduction. Y'all could take a few moments to introduce yourself. How long you been in New Order, and what was it about it that kind of brought you into the organization? And we can just go from there.
You can go ahead, Miss Vanessa.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. My name is Vanessa Battle, and I am a member of the New Order. My position here is Secretary of State, and basically what that position entails is me going out to a lot of the different, I wouldn't even call them events, because with so much going on in the world, these are top priority issues that are state of the emergency for our Black community. So what my responsibility is to go out um, to the with the organization anytime there are issues in our communities, and to discuss those issues and to talk about how we can bring about resolutions for the different issues that are taking place in our community. I am a graduate of Clayton State University with a bachelor's degree in political science and a minor in legal studies. So right now I am looking to go to law school. Once finishing law school, I will definitely come back and continue to work in the legal department with the New Order. And one of the reasons that I joined the organization is because I'm just passionate about so many things and so many issues that are taking place in the Black community. And I wanted to help to be a resolution, or help to bring about a resolution to so many of the issues that we are facing. And I believe that the New World Organization will allow me to have that type of platform to be able to bring about resolutions and to be able to speak to our people and to educate them, more so on the political arena. Because one of the things that I realized that we don't quite realize that we have as a Black community is we have a lot of power, and we're not using that power, and we need to be more reactive in terms of using our platforms, and especially this year when it's a voting year. And not only is it a voting year for our president, but every seat is up for reelection, meaning that your state representative seat is up for reelection, your U.S. Congress seat is up for reelection, and the Senate seat. So, with that being said, there's a lot of power that comes with just those seats that are up for reelection. So that's part of the reason why I joined the organization. And I do want to thank Mr. Gerald for allowing me to be one of the representatives to speak on the panel tonight. Thank you.
You want me to go ahead?
Mm, yeah, it looks like Our
Okay.
host is having some technical issues.
Okay. Well, my name is Cheniera Osbourne, and I started working with new orders, about a couple of weeks ago. And I started working with new orders because the issue that I was also having with my son
Yes,
and
ma'am. You can
nephew.
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. With my son and nephew, also with the issues they have, and I seen that new orders was, they was powerful, and I felt like I need to join with them. So I became a research specialist in new orders, and I really appreciate that because it's giving me an opportunity to do something different in the community. Not only because I'm a medical, I work in the medical field, so all this kind of new to me about doing everything out with the community and stuff like that, and dealing with different things. So that's why I'm glad that I joined New Orders. Vanessa, are you doing okay? How you doing?
I am. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
You excited about the July 25th?
I am. I really am, and I've been talking to my family and everybody about it, and we all excited because it need to be heard. People need to
Mm,
hear what's really happening in our community, and so I'm very excited about it.
well, that's good. You
Yeah.
told your son and your nephew.
Yeah, I did. And they excited too. They can't wait to see, what happened from there. But it's still a process. So
Right, right.
yeah,
It is, but the good thing is that you started the process. Because if you don't
that's
ever start it, nothing will happen.
that's true.
And so you've got to bring awareness to what's going on because
Hmm.
it is ridiculous how the system can um, give a person 25 or 15 years over a book bag. And then
Correct.
yet we have people that are out here getting murdered in our streets, and they are able to go before the DA and do plea deals and get 5 years. So
Hmm.
that's just not
I
good.
know. I know. And it's sad because they so young. You know.
And the whole criminal,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, and that's by design. That's part of that from school to the prison pipeline. That's part of that, and so that's why awareness needs to be brought.
And that's true. That's true. And that's why I always tell people that I just want people to understand that I'm not here to uphold a wrongdoing. Because if they did it, you need to be punished. But I just look at it more, why over sentence though? Why over sentence these young boys when you could have offered them programs and stuff like that. And that's why I'm standing for them, not because they did wrong, because they did. And if you did it, you deserve to be punished, but not
Mhm.
25 years, not
Right.
15
It's
years.
the severity of the punishment because
Mhm.
the time does not fit the punishment. And
That's
that's
true.
what that's what we're finding in our community. And that's why I say it goes back to that school to prison pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't make sense that we have a system that set these young men up for failure from the beginning. And it's like you said, there needs to be some programs out here to help to truly rehabilitate these young men. And prison is not always the answer when things
Mm-hmm.
happen.
That's true. That's
And
true.
especially when you get these young men who these are their first time offenders, then how do you give a person that's a first time offender 25 years for such a mediocre crime? And it's like you said, no, we're not upholding and saying that
Mm-hmm.
committing a crime is right, but what we're saying is that the system should be fair when it comes to our black young men, because even when you go back and you do the research, we have our male counterparts who are getting 25% less sentencing versus what our black counterparts are getting. And that's
That's
very
true.
unfair. That's an unfair justice system.
Mm-hmm. And see what they fail to realize too. We even tried to talk to the judge and the DA and the public defenders, everything, that these boys had mental issues. These boys was on medication. They was on
Mm,
medicine, but they didn't want to hear none of that. But I'm not justifying that. Hey, but if it was somebody white and they had medical issues, that would have been the first thing they would have threw up. Oh, they got medical. There's something wrong with them. But they didn't want to hear anything about these boys. And reason why my son joined the military at 17, because he was having so many issues. He didn't have a father in the home. So I thought the best thing for my son to do was to join the military so he can get instruction. He can get some type of something in there, to give him some type of guidance as a man,
right,
whatever. But once he went to court and the judge them, they didn't want to hear none of that. They didn't even want to hear that he was in the military. They didn't want to hear that he had a high school diploma at 17. He joined the military at 17. But these folks didn't want to hear anything. They want to hear everything bad about my son. So, that's why I'm standing tall, and I'm gonna continue to stand for my son and nephew, because I feel like even with my nephew, when the charge hit, when he turned 15, he did 2 years for you and for that crime. Why did you still turn around and give him 17, 15 years after he turned 17? That's a slap in the face. He gave you 2 years of that for doing that crime, and you still gave him 15 years in prison when he turned 17. And now these boys are sitting in there 2 years in prison without medical assistance. Because you know why? Neither one of those judges, DA or nobody, didn't want to hear that these boys was medical. We have paperwork from the doctors. They was on medicine. But nobody
right.
wanted to hear that. So I mean, the system just failed them all the way around. But they always talk about even this judge that ended up giving my son and nephew this time in prison. He got it on the website that he got a program from teens and parents. If you had that program, why didn't you ask that offer that program at least to
Right,
my nephew, the one that was 15, that was turned 17? Why didn't you offer that program to him? So that's the
right.
things that we looking at, like, the system failed them when it came down to over sentencing these young boys.
Mhm.
And that's how I feel. Like, it's just sad.
Mr. Ali, we was just having a
I'm
conversation because
sorry.
I realized
And,
that
and
you
no,
had
please, you please. I'm listening like everybody else. Because these stories are important, and these stories are motivating factors behind seeking to get justice for people. You see what I'm saying? So even in cases where we can't get justice for ourselves,
That's true.
that it
right,
doesn't stop us for advocating for justice for
right.
people. There's a lot of things that were happening. Now I saw y'all on the video with Mr. Rose in front of the place where I believe the young sister was killed. Can we talk about that?
Yes, yes, because when we think about what happened over in that community, that still ties into the whole prison reform. Because
Hmm.
even when we think about us as a community and how we've been out here protesting and marching, I'm not in agreement with saying to defund the police department, but what I do think needs to happen is that some of those millions of dollars that's going to the police department, and just like my counterpart, Ms. Osbourne talked about, there needs to be some programs out there, and I believe that some of that money that's going to the police department needs to go to help fund some of these programs, because you do have persons that are out here dealing with mental health. And so where are the funds to be able to separate the true criminal from that criminal that committed a crime with mental health?
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I also looked at it too. I didn't want it also just to be about my son and nephew. When I seen that with the black on black crime, I mean that also need to be a headline that we also need to march on,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, we supposed to stand together, not against each other. And so that's why I really want to be out there with them with new orders, because I'm not selfish. It's not about what's going on with me, but it's about what's going on in the community.
Right. Right. And I can agree with that because um, we have a lot of our white counterparts that are saying to us, why are we so passionate about Black Lives Matter when blacks are killing blacks? And that is absolutely true. However, it still goes back to what happens in our community and the fact that there are a lot of us that have been reaching out to our leaders and saying that there needs to be some things to take place because of what's happening with our Black kids. You have to think about what advancements do our kids have in the community to help them to stay out of trouble.
Hmm.
Black on black crime is not so much in most cases where these kids wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to go kill somebody. A lot of times it stems from them just hanging out with other kids and they are coming up with these malicious things to do because they have nothing else to do with their time. And an
Yeah.
idle mind is definitely a playground for the enemy to come in and create things for them to do.
Yeah.
So even what took place over with Miss Sequoia, with the baby Sequoia Turner, that has to still, some of this stuff still has to go back to our leaders in our community, our city council people, our mayors. What are you doing, or what type of programs are you placing in our community to help these young men to stay out of trouble? And then it's also like you said, Ms. Osborne, when we identify that we have these young men and women that are dealing with mental issues, what do we do with that?
Hmm.
Because that is the newest thing in our community. At one time, the thing that we was dealing with was the ADHD.
Hmm.
All the kids just about was being examined and they were being treated for ADHD. Now the latest thing that we're dealing with is mental. But nobody's being trained. Nobody on the police department. Nobody in our school system. The teachers. No one's being trained to assist our kids, our students, our young men and women that are having mental issues. So how do we deal with that?
Yeah, that's correct.
What do we do about it? Because as you said with your niece and with your nephew and your son, they shouldn't be housed in the same place that regular criminals are if they have a mental issue.
Yep.
And then even for the sentencing, that should have been taken into consideration. Because you don't just take these people that have issues, that's just like a disease, and then you house them with regular criminals. Where is the justice in that, and where is the rehabilitation in that? So
At
how
all.
are they rehabilitated?
Yeah. So therefore, they haven't been taking their meds for 2 years because they've been locked up, and the system didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear that these boys had issues and they was on medicine. They didn't want to hear it, and it's sad. But I mean, that's the world we living in.
Right, and it's so unfair. And so when Mr. Ali asked us about Mr. Collier Turner, that's one of the things I'm saying, that I'm sure that the person who committed that crime, that was a malicious crime. But the basis and the foundation for what those protesters was over there protesting about, these are some of the issues. Because one of the things that the solid protesters that were actually there to really protest, because I realized that there were some people who were there that didn't have good intentions, but those people that were there that really wanted to see change, one of the changes they wanted to see was that Wendy's become a community center. And in it becoming a community center, that's one of the issues that they brought up is that where can these young people go and get treatment for this mental illness? Because that's one of the newest things that has hit our community. And even as a black person, I don't even think that we are totally prepared as to how we deal with mental illness in our community. Because, when you think about it, I know in my generation growing up, we didn't have a lot of it, and maybe we did. And the thing with the black community is that we may have had a lot of mental illness, but we were the type of people growing up that our parents um, taught us to keep things hush hush. What happens in this house, stay in this house. And so now, because you have so much technology, social media, you have a system also that's designed to keep us down, that, they're constantly coming up with different issues in our community that will keep us down. Because in the school system, a lot of times with these kids that have the mental illness, they continue to pass them rather than create programs for them to truly get educated with that illness. They're just passing them along through the system.
That's true.
They make money off of it. That's why.
Yeah.
So if you look at that situation, it's the same situation with mass incarceration. They get money off of it, and they owe. Like when you dig into the school to prison pipeline, you see that they're required to give so many, of our people, every year to the system, and indiscriminate to what it is. Like they owe them money to keep them in there. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no,
Victimized in this
I
case,
agree with you.
exploited and capitalized off of.
Right.
This is
That's
So
true.
this
again,
is
that's why I
yeah,
say that
that's their business. When their children do it, it's boys being boys. When it's our children, it's criminal. You know,
right.
Yeah. Or
Right.
they say,
See, that's why
or,
I
or they
see.
say thugs. They call our black
Yeah,
men thugs. So
yeah, yeah, and that's why I said I agree that that's still a systemic racist issue
hmm
that has become an adaptive part of our community, because that whole school to prison pipeline that was set up by design. And and I'm going to say this, and I know this is something that I will probably get called out about, but the reality of it is too, as black people, we've got to reevaluate where our votes are going. Because what we got to really think about is that we voted for our black Democrats for over 40 years. And when we think about it, a lot of our communities are getting worse and worse and worse. Being in real estate, I have to give you some numbers. We are at 47% black home ownership, and that's the same place that we were at when Dr. King got assassinated. Now, before the market went down, we were somewhere around 78 or 79% before the housing market turned. But it still should not be. Here we are, what, 10 or 12 years later from the turn of the housing market, and our ownership is still at 47%. That's the problem. And then when we look at our numbers in our school system, when we look at our test scores, for the past 10 years, our test scores, especially in Atlanta public schools, have gone down just about every year. So see, these are some factual numbers that we have got to start looking at when we're talking about who are these people that we're voting into office.
that's true.
Because yes, as a black community, there are a lot of things that we need to do, but also as our politicians that we are electing in our communities, there are a lot of things that they can do. rather than just get elected and draw money. Because the reality of it is that a lot of these political positions do not pay a lot of money. So when you think about it, if they don't pay a lot of money, what are these politicians really in it for? Are they getting money under the table, or do they love what they do? And if they're telling us that they love what they do, the numbers are not showing it. The numbers are just not showing it. So as Black people, we have really got to wake up and begin to get involved, and we've got to begin to do research. Because the other thing that we have to think about with Miss Toya Turner's death over there, the City of Atlanta Police Department, and again, I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just giving us some facts today. But the Atlanta Police Department allowed those people to occupy that facility over there for over 30 days after the killing of Mr. Brooks. What was the reason that those people were able to occupy that facility for that long and to be able to walk around on that lot with guns the way that they did? What was the reason? So when we think about it, somebody needs to be accountable, because it wasn't until her death that they went over and really removed the protesters from that space. And I'm sure everybody that was there was not there with a motive to protest in a decent way. And so that's one of the reasons why the killing came, because everybody who was there, motive was not pure. So at that time, where were our city council people? Where were the city council people? What were they doing? See, some of this stuff has to be justified by means of these people who we're continuing to vote in office. And then once we put them in office, what are we doing as a follow-up as Black people? Are we going to their office? Are we writing letters? Are we emailing their office and making sure that the things that they promised us when they were campaigning are being done? We aren't doing that. We aren't doing that. So everything that we're going through in our community, it can't be the white man's fault. Some of these things are a result of us and things that we're not doing.
That's true.
And so even for you, Ms. Osbourne, that's why it's so important that as you start on this journey, you continue on it. Because there are some people too that you are going to have to call out and hold responsible. Because in situations like this, where are the public officials? You know, where are some of our Black civil rights attorneys? And why aren't they reaching out to you all in these cases where they know that these Black kids are being oversentenced? And in a lot of cases, as Black people, we can't afford to get the same legal attorneys that white people can. And in most of these cases, we're fighting against white attorneys.
That's true.
So where are some of our civil rights attorneys that are not coming forth and being able to offer assistance to our people in our community with some of these issues that are going on? Because sometimes we don't know our rights, and it will help if we can get some of our legal people from our community to come forth and be willing to assist us with some of these situations. Everything doesn't have to always be about money.
That's true. Yeah, and because really you have to, even trying to get my son back in court and everything, it's like over $40,000. Some lawyer want me to pay them, and you know that's a lot of money. You know, when you trying to prove that, hey, you see it for yourself, and a lot of them say you're right, they are being over sentenced, and we don't know why. You know, they quote, we don't know why they doing it. You know why. You know very why, but you know, and most of the time, a judge not gonna turn on himself. He not gonna say he was in wrong. So
Right.
I mean, it's a hard battle, but at the end of the day, I feel like I have to speak up And I can't just sit back as a mother. My son is all I got other than his son. My
Right.
parents is older and stuff like that. My son father never been in his life, so I was the one who raised my child to the point, where he is now. So I mean, it's hard, and a lot of people will bash parents because of their children behavior. They will bash you. They saying, "Oh, a lot of it come from home." But I was a mother who worked 2 and 3 jobs. A lot
Mm,
of times I was working. So and another thing is all three of my kids were A students, AB students. My son was so smart. That's why he finished school so fast because he
mm,
was so smart. But sometimes kids can get in things and do the wrong things at the wrong time or whatever. But guess what? They still deserve a second chance. We all human.
right.
We all human.
Mm,
That's why I say I will never uphold a wrongdoing. Yes, you need to be punished, but not over sentence.
right. Right. And one of the things also, Ms. Osborne, is we're just kind of living in a different time than when you and I grew up. A wise woman once said to me, probably when I was about 20 years old, and she was dealing with some issues with her son at that time. And she said, baby, she said, we as parents, we spend 17, 18 years raising our kids, and it takes 18 to 17 seconds for somebody out there in the street to change their mind. I
Yeah.
didn't quite understand what she meant because I was maybe about 20 years old at that time. And I'm just living life. But then when I became a parent, I began to understand exactly what those words that she spoke to me meant. And it's just like you're saying, there are a lot of cases where parents are parenting and kids are just they're doing that. They're being kids, just like you said. You're having to work 2 and 3 jobs, which is a whole nother situation in terms of where we are as Black people in our generational wealth or lack thereof, because here again, there's so many moving parts that play a role in so many things that we're going through in our community.
Mhm.
But we have never had a fair chance at our wealth. And we've always been um, about 75% behind our white counterparts in terms of wealth and income. And so
That's
you don't be hard on yourself because you were out there doing what you needed to do to keep a roof over that young man's head. And as you said, you was the parent that you taught him the right things, but it's just so much for our kids to get into in this day and time.
Mhm.
You got social media, and a lot of times these kids don't realize that social media is just not real.
Yeah.
Kids are so impressionable that they think everything that happens on social media is real. They think everything that happens on reality TV is real. And that's why as parents we should be having some hard conversations with our kids about what's real and what's not real in this world.
Mhm. That's true. And they will always say too, in the Black community homes, they broken. And they are. You know why they are? Because I look at it, look, Black on Black killing each other. The police is killing the Black men, and a lot of them dead, and a lot of them going to prison. So the homes gonna be broken. So I mean, where we start from there? Where do you start from there? So the Black homes being broken because all those different things that's happening. You're not gonna really keep a father in the home if they getting gunned down by each other, the police killing them, they going to prison for a long period of time. Then you left with the mom and the kids to take care of them. So either way, it's just sad. It's just sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it really is. Mr. Osborne, but we have to continue to keep hope
Yeah.
because what you're saying is so much truth to it. But it goes way back to how a lot of us oftentimes talk about integration and segregation in the Black community.
Hmm.
See, one thing that we got to realize is that so many things that we are going through, it was by design. But one thing that we have always been as a people is we've always been resilient and we've always been able to go and fight for what we need and for what we want. But it just comes a time when we've just gotten tired. Because when you think about how the Black family became broken in the first place, and I wouldn't even really say that we're broken. I would just say that the system has weakened the Black family. But the way that that came about was when they began to integrate and they began to allow the Black families to move into the projects. So one of the requirements was in a lot of those projects, the husband can come.
Wow.
So again, I'm saying that a lot of these things are by design because they already knew that once the woman get on the system, where is the man going?
That's true. That's true.
Where's the man going?
That's
And
true.
back then, I'm sure that a lot of us didn't think about that. A lot of our parents, grandparents that were having to get on the system and go and live in the projects, a lot of us didn't think about that because we were in a struggle, we were in a battle. And at that time, it was more important for us to have a place for our kids, for us and our kids to lay our head. But see, that's what I said. We really do our homework about a lot of things that have transpired in our neighborhood. A lot of this stuff has been by design and it's been a setup. And that's
Wow.
why, as Black people, though, we have to continue to fight the good fight of faith. We have to continue to know what our rights are so that when we get in situations like these, we are able to come before a judge. We're able to come before that DA's office and talk to them about what our rights are.
That's true.
You know, and even in your case, I would still encourage you to write, even though we're in an election year, I would still encourage you to write to your city council person, write to your state representative, let them know how displeased you are with what's going on.
That's true.
And you need their help.
Yeah. And
You need their help.
I've been trying to reach out in Augusta because that's where it took place at, in Augusta, Georgia courthouse. And I tried to reach out to multiple people about what was going on, how we felt, and how we felt that Judge Paget did our boys. And I felt that he didn't give them a fair try, by just that one time he decided to say, hey, give him 25 years. And the thing that hurted me the most in that courtroom that day, the DA turned around and told the judge, make a zap out of him, give him life. But that judge turned around and told her, no, I'm not going to give him life, but I am going to give him 25 years. 25 years is life.
Right.
That's life. And I just feel like, why put so much money in prison when you can put it in programs?
Exactly.
Offer these young boys to go speak to other youth, so that the youth that's coming up behind them won't fall in that same seat that these boys doing. It's so many programs. My husband have a program, Prison of Power. It's so many programs out here that these judges and lawyers and all can help out and say, hey, prison not always the answer. It's
Right.
not always the answer. Give our Black boys a chance. Now I'm not saying someone who don't intentionally murdered somebody or something like that. Then that may be a different story. But someone's that don't went out here and took something, with a gun or whatever. Give them a second chance. Maybe they'll learn from that what they did. Put them in programs to help other youth that's coming up behind them, and that's how I look at it. With those type of programs, they should be offering.
No, and I agree with you, Ms. Osborne. And that's one of the things that I'm talking about when I say that we have to get a platform and begin to hold some of our public officials accountable. Because at the end of the day, as citizens, we can talk to them about these things that we need in our community. But it has to be some of our public officials that help us to propel and get these type of programs into our community. We've got to have some people on the front line that are fighting with us.
That's true.
And in order for that to happen, though, we've got to make it known to them what it is that we want. What is it that I expect to get? If I'm giving you my vote, Mr. Councilman, Miss Councilman, Mr. State Representative, if I'm giving you my vote, What is it that you're prepared to give this community? And I'm saying black Democrat, white Republican, black Republican, whomever it is that is your candidate. I feel like we need to find out from them what is it that you're willing to do in our community.
That's true.
Because my vote is very precious. And if I'm giving you my vote, then I need to understand what is it that you are giving me in return. And that's one of the things that as black people we have not done. We've gone out a lot of times and we voted for people just because our parents were Democrat, or we voted for them just because they were black. Half of the time we don't even know what their platform is. And when I say platform, meaning we don't even know what they stand for. We don't even know what they're running on. We just go and vote for them because they are our color. And we've got to stop that. We've got to make these people earn our votes. And then once they earn the vote, we've got to make sure that whatever it is they promise us, that they're doing.
That's true.
That they're doing. And it's never too late.
That's true.
Because I think it's so profound that with so much that's going on, here we are right now in an election seat, and all of the major seats are up for election. I don't think that's a coincidence. And then here we are with COVID. I think that's another thing, that it's a time for us to sit back and not just be able to reflect, but it's a time for us to because we're so busy, and just like you, and I'm not saying anything negative against you, but you're out here working 2 and 3 jobs, and sometimes it doesn't allow you the ability to sit down and research your candidate. You understand what I'm saying? But now, here we are in this shutdown, or this temporary shutdown, or this partial shutdown. Then we need to be researching and seeing who are these people that are running for office. Who are the people that want to be reelected, and what are they running on? And then reach out to them. Reach out to them. You know, those people that you are getting together that's going to be marching with you in Augusta, when you go there, already have information about the candidates or the people for that community. And then get those persons who will be there in Augusta with you to reach out to these politicians. And I would even reach out to them before I get there to see who's willing to come out with me and stand with me in front of the courthouse.
Right.
You know, let's see who wants to do that. And I would reach out to some of the civil rights attorneys in that area and even in the city of Atlanta and see who's willing to come out and say something, because what you're doing, Ms. Osbourne, that's a movement. And you're in the process of writing and working on some things to have the school to prison pipeline reform. So you need people to be on your board and to be with you.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then I also look at it too, like a lot of these guys done did the same thing that my son is. They've been locked up 15 and 20 years and they still won't release them. I mean, those are some things too that, you know, you look at like, wow, you know, why these men now are still serving all that time? Why they not released? You know, so we just look at all kind of different things with the parole and in the prison system and the juvenile system. It's all messed up. Yeah,
it is. But the one thing that I have to give you hope on is what a great time for you to be intervening. And even with those other young men that you talk about, I would get their families involved as well, because it's never too late for them either. There's been an injustice that has taken place against them. So let's get their parents involved. Let's get their families involved. Let's give them some hope. Yeah, they may have already been there for 5 or 6 years, but let's give them some hope that when I go out here as Miss Osbourne, I'm not going out here as Miss Osbourne. I'm going out here as a hurting mother that's representing my community. And I want to bring all the other hurting moms along with me to be able to give them hope.
That's true.
because hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Yeah.
And I just believe that in this season and this time, you've been called to do this.
Wow.
It's not just something that you woke up and decided to do. This is something you've been called to.
Wow.
And so, unfortunately, you're having to make sacrifices for all the people that are coming behind you, and even some of the people that, as you said, that are still in the same situation. You got to
Mm-hmm.
reach out to them and give them some hope, and let them come and stand along beside you, because it's power in a multitude.
That's right.
It's power in a multitude.
That's true.
And I'm proud of you, because my son is not there, but it could be him tomorrow. So
That's
I
true.
need you to go out and lead the way and help start this, so that parents can get involved, people, families can get involved
That's true.
and
And I
make an impact.
That's true. And I talked to a lot of guys that's also been locked up for the same thing. And they talk about it. I mean, so I like I told them, I'm not just here for my nephew and son. I'm here for all of them, because it's not fair. It's not fair. The way the system is doing our boys and men's, it's not fair.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, you make a very valid point. And see, that's another thing that I'm talking about with our elected officials. Um, who are these DAs that we're electing into office? Because what people got to realize is our district attorneys have a lot of power. Our district attorneys have a lot of power. Who are these judges that we are electing? Now, some judges are appointed, but some judges are elected.
That's true.
And even for the judges that are being appointed, that's still an open door for us to reach out to our governor, and in some cases the mayor, who are the ones that appoint a lot of these judges that are appointed. Then we need to get involved with that and let them know how we feel, and find out, well, who is it that you're looking to appoint?
That's true. That's true.
Because in a lot of cases, when we go to court, we don't see judges that look like us. And even sometimes in a jury selection, we don't even see jurors that look like us. So that's another situation where I'm saying that comes back to our DA's office. That comes back to our district attorney. Because a lot of times it's by design that they don't want blacks on these juries.
And see,
And that's not fair either.
that's true, and that's why we have to push the youth that's coming up now to get more involved with the system. Go to college for that, because I mean it's gonna be more and more of our kind that's gonna be locked up and going to prison for a long time, and getting killed. So we do need more judges, black judges. We do need more black DAs. We need them all out there. But we
Right.
have to push the youth. The youth is our future. We have
Yes,
to push them.
they
Yeah,
are.
we have
They
to push
certainly
them.
are. When we think about our generation, like I said on Saturday, it's unfortunate that when we think about some of our leaders, um, and some of those leaders did not groom people in our generation to come up and to be leaders. In our parents' generation, they had the Dr. Kings, they had the Hosea Williams, they had the Abernathy. But none of those leaders took time to groom people in our generation to come up and to be fighters, and to be able to stand on the front line just as they did. I mean, I know that Michael Bond, he was councilman for the city of Atlanta, and his dad was William Bond. And then we have Reginald Eames, who is one of the city councilmen also for the city of Fulton County. So when we think about it, though, there are not enough of those leaders who was identified in our generation, who identified as leaders, to be able to come up and take on the leadership just as some of our civil rights leaders did. So you are absolutely right. We've got to start grooming our young people and identifying who is going to lead that generation.
That's
Who's
true.
going to lead? Who's going to be the freedom fighters of that generation? And that's why I say when it goes back to Baby Turner over with what happened at the Wendy's, a lot of those people were not outcast for that reason, but there were a lot of them that were out there because they had a genuine heart and they were concerned. But then you had some people that were out there because they were just angry and they were tired of what we are going through as a Black people. And rather than them to handle it on paper or wait for the process, they wanted to take matters into their own hands. And that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very sad that happened to her like that. She didn't
Yeah.
deserve it. Wow. Yeah, sad. I also think too that even in the community, they closed down a lot of boys and girls club. And to me personally, that's another thing. Build up more boys and girls club. Give these young teenager boys more mentors. A lot of these kids can play football and basketball and baseball, but if you tear that stuff down, then where you think these kids running to? They run to the street. They get with the OGs and they learn how to sell drugs and all that stuff because you're not giving them nothing to keep their mind focused on. You're taking it away. You're taking it from the hood. You're taking the boys and girls club away. And then we don't have enough mentors. What happened to all the Black mentors that standing up and say, hey, enough is enough? You
Right.
know? So
No, and that's why I said earlier that some of this comes back to our politicians because we don't have youth centers, we don't have recreation centers anymore, we don't have the summer job programs that we used to have when we were growing up that kept us out of trouble. I made a statement about the police athletic league the last time we were interviewed by Channel 2, and someone did text me and say that they do still have the police athletic league, but I still don't feel like it's strong like it was when we were growing up. Is it in all of the community? When we were growing up, it was in all of the community. We got on the vans and we went and played baseball, softball, and basketball against other police athletic leagues because they had them in all communities. And that's another thing when I talk about us, like I said, I'm not in agreement with defunding the police department because I still have hope in our police department. What I will say is that I feel like we need to take some of the funds that are being allocated because the police department is getting millions and millions of dollars. So we do need to take some of those monies that are being allocated to the police department, and that's what we need to use it for. We need to use it to open up some of these rec centers. We need to use it to have mental health treatment and mental health training for our police officers. Because a lot of times they go out to situations and that's what it's dealing with. A lot of times it's dealing with mental health. But if they're not trained for that, then the first thing they want to do is to pull out a gun. That's not always the answer to every situation. And that's what I was saying about our public officials. We have to find out what is their plan for our community. How can I work with you as a citizen that lives in this community, Mr. Candidate or Miss Candidate? How can I work with you to be able to bring programs back to our community? How can I work with you to be able to get in the school system and help to increase our educational program? See, that's part of what I'm talking about when I say as Blacks, we have become uninvolved with what's going on in our community. We have become lackadaisical in terms of what we're talking to these elected officials about. And we need to know what is the plan for our community.
that's true. I think we all took over his show.
Miss Ali, It looks like he's back, but I don't know that he can hear us, Mr. Ali. Let me send him a message in the chat and see. It look like he's frozen again. Yeah, I think he's frozen. But, well, Miss Osbourne, you had
Huh?
well, I was froze for a minute, but I say you had some great points that you brought up, and preferably you'll be able to put these things on paper and move forward with executing them.
That's true. It was
Yeah,
somebody.
it was breaking up for me a little bit on, and I've been listening. I had to listen to two streams at the same time so I could hear everything.
Oh,
And
sorry.
so many dynamic points that's been going on. So that's when points when you didn't see me, but I still heard everything.
Oh.
So definitely some serious new order warriors. As I told y'all at the beginning, these sisters are not playing any games whatsoever. Y'all are dynamic. Y'all are beautiful. The things that you brought out about accountability and calling people to task were very, very phenomenal. And not often, many times that you actually hear that vocalized. Not in the public. In the private, you might be some whisperings around, but in the public, no. It's the go along to get along situation. And if we look at our communities, how our communities were structured initially, we had some place to go after school. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So a fix would be to return to supporting a dynamic homeschool co-op program. Even with this COVID situation, we don't know if our children are returning back to school. So if we look for some people we can trust within our community, some past educators, things like that, get together and go back to the schoolhouse kind of
Right.
concept that was in our community. You see what I'm saying? Uh, they're agriculturalists. There are all kind of people out here in our community. We just have to do a skills assessment in our community
Right.
and start to formulate. People are growing food, blah blah blah, things like that. So these are things that our children can get back into. You see what I'm saying? So if you're in the homeschool co-op environment, you're learning these skills and add them as a part of your curriculum, and now you're occupying the mind. We're
Right.
cutting down recidivism. You see what I'm saying? There's no interest anymore in regards to what these other things have offered us. You see what I'm saying? So now we're dealing in a group and communal fashion. So this is the times that we come from before, and then this is where the garnering and the support from the people that comes along. So if the churches aren't meeting right now, if people in the mosque or different people are not meeting right now, you should redirect that energy into community program and establishing them, because anything that comes from our enemies is never anything that's good for us. They can
Right.
have a bunch of programs. You understand? School to prison pipeline is a program. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's a program.
Yes, it is.
So
It's a
if
real
it's
program.
something that's
Whether we are
instituted by us, right? If it's not instituted by us, for us, by us in this kind of situation, then we find ourselves in a detriment. So we definitely need to look at and examine who are coming amongst us and what program and what agenda. What are your goals? You see what I'm saying? So just like you were saying in regards to voting, your vote is whether or not to send your children back to that kind of school or have
right.
your children in that kind of environment. You see what I'm saying? Because we know what it breeds. We already looked at all of
Right.
the examples and everything that has happened in our community.
Right. That's true. And
When we look at this other situation, just like you mentioned, your children had days and you were working 3 jobs. What did it yield them in the result in that environment when the environment only sees them as criminal, not even as human,
That's right.
just criminal, not even human? Like you can't even add a human or appeal to a human kind of situation. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So this is some restructuring that we need to do in this process to prevent this. Put safeguards in place as much as we can in our where we lend our support and our energy to.
That's true.
That's true.
Yes, that's true. I agree. And one other thing that I did not mention, and I
So
should
as we wrap up, we give y'all a chance for some final remarks and also how people can, support you as well.
well, one thing that I did not mention and I should have mentioned is that we also need our pastors and our churches to get back involved into the community.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another thing is that when we were growing up, it was nothing that we couldn't turn to the church for. And the church has become so infused with becoming a business, even though it is a business and it has to operate. But the church has to operate as a business that's that vibrantly involved in the Black community. The church has to get more involved with what's going on with our school systems because a lot of the pastors have a lot of influence and they can influence a lot of things that are going on in our community. But yet I see so many of our Black pastors that are sitting back and they're not saying anything. And that's not how it was designed either. Because the church is the community. The church is where the people go to get assistance. The church is where the people go to get counsel, to get wisdom. So I would say that we need our church leaders to get back involved into the community and to find out what is going on, where is there a need. And I know we have this same old tired cliche about church and state, but that's just what it is. It's a tired cliche because the United States of America was founded on in God we trust, and it's almost impossible to have a political community without having the church involved in it. That's impossible. And so that's one of the things also that we've got to begin to challenge our church leaders to get involved with a lot of these issues that's going on in our community. Because remember, people, especially for those of us that are very active in our churches, we are tithing. And I'll say that again. For those of us that are very active in our churches, we are tithers. So therefore, we have a voice. Just like you have a voice at the voting polls, you have a voice in your church. And I would say to you to begin to get your pastors and your church leaders involved in what's going on in the community. So I appreciate you, Mr. Oliver, for allowing me to be a part of your program today and to be able to speak some factual information to my community because I love my community.
That's right.
And if it's the one thing that I want to do is to see Blacks treated fair. Because when we think about this whole United States, it was built on the backs and the shoulders of our ancestors, and it was built for free. For free. Our Black ancestors can earn a dime for building these United States of America, and we need to be treated better. We are citizens. We're not second class people. We are citizens, and we need to be treated that way.
That's true.
So thank you all. I hope that you've enjoyed this session. And you can also find us on our Facebook page, the New Order Human Rights Organization. And for those of you that need to reach out to me individually, you can find me at Battle for My Credit, or you can find me at Vanessa. Thank you once again.
And thank you also for allowing me to sit here and talk about all kind of different things that's going on in the community. I also want to speak out to the parents before we leave. Parents, if y'all see something is going on in the system, don't just sit back and just watch your son or your daughter or your grandchild um, go to prison or let a judge or a DA anybody that mistreat them We got to stand up. We have to speak. We have to stand forward and let these people know that enough is enough. So I'm here, and also on New Orders. You can also find us on, like Miss Vanessa said, and you can also find me on Facebook as Cheniera Osbourne.
I think Mr. Oliver has he's multitasking today.
I think we don't ran our mouth a little too much. And Mr. Gerald, thank you for allowing us this opportunity with New Orders. Thank you.
Yes, thank
We
you.
really appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Oh, since we still waiting on him, it was one more thing I want to say too. It was someone um kind of said, well, why a 15-year-old had a gun? I said, you right. I said, but look at this also too. Why do the military allow a 17-year-old to join the military? What do they put in their hand when they join the military at 17?
That's
They
true.
train them to kill. They put a gun in their hand. And my son was also trained with guns because he was in infantry at 17. So,
Right,
I mean, you have to look at all kind of different ways too, because 17 is still a youth,
right.
so, hey,
Well, Miss Osborne, that's why I said to you, a lot of people are going to fail a lot of things. But that's why you got to continue to keep your head up and know what your journey is and know what your target is.
that's true.
Because the reality of it is, white kids are committing the same crimes that black kids are. And it's just not being televised because blacks are the target. So it's no perfect race out here. Blacks have just always been the target for whatever reason. I've yet to understand, and maybe when I get to glory, God will help me to understand why it is that other races feel like we are the worst races in the world. When, just like I said earlier, had it not been for our race, we wouldn't have a United States of America because we built it for free. Our ancestors built it on their backs for free. So you would think that other races that get to come to this country and enjoy the freedoms of what we built, you would think that they would treat us better.
Wow.
All right, Mr. Allah, it's on you.
Well, I definitely thank both of you for taking time out of your schedule to come over here and share with us that New Order warrior wisdom. So I just want to urge the family, if they find themselves in a position where they need help, this is a national human rights organization, New Order National Human Rights Organization. You can go to the website www.nonhro.org. Again, www.nonhro.org. Or you can call this toll free number 24/7, 366. We got an extra day in this year. 1-800-346-5138. Again, 1-800-346-5138. Want to give a shout out to the president, CEO, Gerald Emerson Rose, and this dynamic New Order family coming together, growing and making change and affecting change all over the planet. I can see this being a national, international organization very soon, because wherever injustice exists, New Order will be there, and it's New Order for life. So thank you both sisters for coming. Don't be strangers. Please come back and bring that fire with you when you come back.
We
Okay.
will.
And Ms. Osborne, you and your husband are welcome to come as well if y'all want to talk about your organization. bring some of the
Okay.
people that you're working with. Definitely want to extend that invitation to you as well. So,
Okay. He will be glad to do
honor
that.
to you, uh, you and your family, and we will keep you uplifted in prayer and
Appreciate
continue to work with you how you see fit as well. And Miss Battle, you definitely got the right name, okay?
Yes,
You
yes.
definitely got the right name, okay? Fierce one. So,
Thank you.
love and honor to you and your continued pursuit for justice out here. Definitely got the right one on the team. So, thank the Creator for you as well.
Thank you.
All right. Well, y'all
All
enjoy
right.
the rest of y'all day.
You too.
We will. Thank you for having
All
us
right.
on the show.
So we out of here, family.